Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Raising the Curtain, a Bloomington Normal Theater podcast with Ashleigh Lynn. Today, I am here with two individuals from Community Players' upcoming production of Mary Poppins the musical. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yes. I'm James Morey, and I am playing the role of Michael Banks, the son of George and Winifred Banks.
Oh, he's got it. And who are you playing, ma'am?
I am Hailey Morey, and I am playing Winifred Banks, the mother of Michael Banks, and also I am the mother of James.
It's so convenient. We love when we get families on here. And I think this is actually the first time we've done a family on here, so I'm really excited about that.
Yay.
So, yes, we're here today to talk about Mary Poppins. So, before we delve into that, why don't you guys just tell us a little bit about who you are, how you found your way to Community Players, and why Mary Poppins?
Okay, I will go first. So, James and I, our family, we moved here to the Bloomington Normal area about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us a little bit to kind of figure out the community theater scene. And we were so happy when we did find Community Players. We've absolutely loved the community of the theater. And let's see, as far as background, I grew up doing community theater. That was actually, James and I were talking today. I did my first musical when I was 10. He is 10.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Yeah, my mom was the choreographer, so it was a family business.
Yes.
I had grown up going to rehearsals with her, so it was just a very natural process to do my first show. And then I dabbled in theater growing up, ended up going to college to study music, dance, and theater. Got my degree from Brigham Young University, and also my teaching licensure for theater education. So in the past 10 years, I've taken more of the educator role, doing community productions here and there. But I love the theater. I love every aspect of community of theater. I think that is what theater was created for.
I agree.
For community.
Absolutely.
And I'm so happy to this is the first time doing a show with one of my children. So I'm so happy to bring him into the world of community productions and all that brings.
Awesome. Tell us about you, James. How did you get into theater? Your mom, obviously.
Yeah, this is actually my first performance. I've been singing for a while, though. I've sung songs when I was 5 years old and a lot of that stuff.
Awesome. But this is your first stage production.
Yes.
Are you excited? Are you nervous?
I'm super excited and nervous at the same time.
Absolutely. Why did you want to audition for Mary Poppins?
I liked how the storyline was super funny, and it's just a good show to start out with.
And have you had a good time so far with Community Players?
Yes, there are very nice people there, and they give you a lot of things that you love.
Exactly. And you're one of two Michaels, is that correct?
Yes, there is another person playing Michael, Gabe, and we both love it.
Awesome. I've actually worked with Gabe previously with High School Musical last year, so I know them through that, which is super fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about what the rehearsal process has been like, either of you, especially with having another person playing your part?
It's been really fun. When we started out with reading everything just for fun, we split Act 1 and 2 between both of us, and I did Act 2 and he did Act 1.
Awesome. And there's two Janes as well, correct?
Correct.
So who is your partner for Jane?
I have Khaleesi and Gabe has Olivia.
Olivia. Hailey, how has the process been for you, not only having to work with your own part, but also having to make sure James is at rehearsal and learning all of his music and lines as well as your own?
Yeah, it's been a unique experience in that regard. It normally, theater has been something that I go to, and it's a very me experience, as well as focusing outwardly on those that are around me. But when you have a child, they're kind of an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
So we've had a good time working together to figure out the dynamics of mother and son, but also co-creators together, and how that role is different than just a typical mother and son experience. But all of the actors that are playing the Jane and Michaels, they've all been very supportive of each other because, like you said, it's 2 different groupings, but they do a really good job at taking turns and paying attention to one another and just encouraging each other. And I'd say the entire rehearsal process has been this group of actors. Everyone is so encouraging and supportive and loving. And they've created a safe environment. If you make a mistake or something's a little off, you never feel shamed or worried. You just have people that are just smiling at you and having a good time together. So it's a very safe environment for James is the youngest member of the cast. And I feel very safe having him there amongst other adults, and that he can have this first experience and hopefully find the love and the joy of creating that everybody else there has had that opportunity to find.
Right. Now, what a lot of the listeners may not know is the stage version it's similar to the movie, but it's more closely related to the actual book of Mary Poppins. So we're pretty familiar with, Mary and Bert being the leads in this show, but Jane and Michael really carry it. They are in almost every scene, I believe. So, James, with this being your first show at Community Players and your first show on stage, were you scared? Where were you feeling when you were at auditions and afterwards when they offered you the part of Michael?
I was super nervous, and when we were called back, I saw that Gabe was like super good, and I was really worried that I wouldn't get the part. But then at the end, Erica, she told us that, hey, you both get the part, and I was super excited.
I know, it's always great when you see other people auditioning because you just want everyone to do so good, and it's like, oh my gosh, they're great, but you're like, oh my god, I have to compete against that. And it's very daunting. So I do think that was really great on Erica that she was able to give you guys the opportunities to play these. And I believe Gabe is actually 18, if I'm correct. So how has it been, working with Gabe and learning stuff since he's, done theater for a few years now?
The process has been pretty fun.
Yeah, it's been fun. Do you have a favorite song in the show?
My favorite song would probably be Anything Can Happen, because I like the lesson, it's literally in the title, anything can happen if you let it.
Right. And do you remember what your audition song was?
My audition song was Consider Yourself from the musical Oliver.
That's a great song. What about you, Hailey? What's your favorite song in the show?
My favorite song in the show is Feed the Birds.
Mine too.
It's a beautiful song. I was thinking about it on the drive over here and processing why it's my favorite. And I just love the message of just do good. Feed the birds. Just do good.
Yeah.
And again, bringing it back to community theater, I kind of feel like that's what I'm trying to accomplish with community theater, is to just do and try to do it with love and kindness. And if we could all just do a little bit of that more in our lives, what a better world we get to live in as we do that.
Absolutely. And what was your audition song?
Oh, I sang I Could Have Danced All Night.
Oh, nice.
And I was not the only one who did.
Oh, I'm not surprised by that. For
Yes.
this show, that's not surprising at all. So you kind of touched base on it, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper into my questions here. But why do you do theater? Like, what was the spark for you that was like, I want to do that, or I have to do this for this reason? What was that for you?
Well, I don't know if I want to say I'm answering this for James, but he kind of hit it spot on, and I don't even know if he remembers that he said this, but I went back to a text message that I saw, because he was in, his second or third week of rehearsals, and we were driving home, and on those drives home, it's a really good time to kind of unpack everything that you experience, because it's an intense 3 hours every night. And he said, and I quote, he said, "Do you ever just listen to music and feel so much happiness that words can't even really describe what it feels like, but you can literally feel it?" And I took that in, and I was like, yeah, that's why I do musical theater, because you feel you feel so many things. And I think it was after we had actually just learned anything can happen, and you have these amazing harmonies at the end, and it's this beautiful moment of hope and love and joy, and you can physically feel it. And I was so happy for him that he got to experience that in his second week
right.
of doing,
That's amazing.
of doing a show. And I have to give credit to our amazing musical director, Shireen. Like, she helped foster that opportunity for him. And that kind of took me back to, why is it that I do theater? It's because of having the opportunity to feel things in a way that you don't really have the privilege or the opportunity to feel it on a day-to-day. But you have these theater pieces that, I mean, you're taking a lot of things and squishing them down into to one space. And also, as a person who then sees a show, I also enjoy going to see musical theater, or theater in general, because as the audience member, you also get to go through a journey, and it's a personal journey. And that's something that I really appreciate about Mary Poppins, is it's a show that can relate. Anyone can find something in it that they relate to. And it's a safe environment of going through your own personal journey of discovery. As James shared, the magic. He loves all the magic. And you get to experience that magic and learn and grow from characters that you don't necessarily have a ton in common with personally, but it's presented in a way that you can relate.
Amazing answer. James, were you familiar with the movie or the musical before you auditioned?
I do remember seeing like at least part of it, but I completely forgot about it. I just knew that it was a good musical and a good show.
Awesome. What about you, Hailey? Did you have a strong knowledge of the movie or the musical before auditions happened?
I may have said yes, but as I've come to know people that are doing the show, and like yourself, no, I do not have a strong knowledge. Yeah, we need to be doing an interview with you if we want to get down to the
nitty-gritty of it,
and really all that this show brings. It's not my strong point. But even with James, we knew once we found out that he could audition, because he's 10 and that was the cutoff.
That was the cutoff.
I was hesitant to show him too much of the material, because I didn't want him to feel like he had to pretend like he was the Michael Banks of the movie, or the Michael Banks of video clips you can find on YouTube. I wanted him to be who James Morey thought Michael Banks was. But we did listen to the music a lot.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack if you haven't listened to it. So what is one thing that... Okay, I'm going to throw this in here. If you don't know, I have a small obsession with Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins is the reason I do theater. I actually have a tattoo of Dick Van Dyke, and Julie Andrews is coming later this year. So shout out to them. But even from working in your rehearsal process, talking to your cast, anything I've provided to you as the dramaturg, was there anything that you learned that you were like, I never thought of it that way? Or, wow, I had no idea about that with Mary Poppins. Anything like that?
I think it's important to point out that there is a book series. I don't feel like a lot of people know that there is a book series of Mary Poppins. And I have not read all of the books. I do think I should.
They're very good.
But in those books, as it was pointed out by our amazing dramaturg, the Banks family in the movie and the musical, there are 2 children, but they actually had 5 children, correct?
They did.
Do you want to give a little history?
Yeah. So in the first book, Mary Poppins, you have, and fun fact, Mrs. Banks is never actually named in the book. Winifred came from Disney. So Mrs. Banks and George Banks have 4 children in the first book. They have Jane, Michael, and then there's a set of fraternal twins, John and Barbara. And then in the second book, they have the baby Annabelle. But we don't have any knowledge outside of the books of the twins or Annabelle. Aaron, who's in the show, actually asked me if I knew why they didn't have them in the movies. And I'm not going to be able to think of the law off the top of my head right now, but there was a law implemented, I want to say in 1938, to help with safety of child actors. And I don't know if there was maybe an age restriction put on it, because the fraternal twins in the book, I want to say, are only a year old when Mary comes. And with them being so young, I don't really feel like it would have made a pivotal impact to the movie, because Jane and Michael are learning lessons from Mary as well as Winifred and George. And that's kind of the whole premise of the book. So, you can teach a 1-year-old as much as you want, but how much are they going to retain and how pivotal is it going to be to the plot? So yeah, that's a big thing that a lot of people don't know. And since you mentioned the book series, it is actually an 8-book series. And if you come see the show, which you should, we're going to have a lovely lobby display, and we're actually going to have all 8 of the books there that you can kind of skim through if you want to look at them. So yeah, that is a fun fact.
Yeah. Another little tidbit that I did not know before rehearsals, Feed the Birds was actually a favorite song of Walt Disney himself.
That was his favorite song. We also have to give a shout out to the Sherman brothers, who wrote most of the music for the movie. I want to say it was Richard Sherman actually passed away. I want to say the day the cast list came out. It was the day of your first rehearsal. So I'm going to get emotional over here now. So it's kind of a nice little full circle that we get to do this show right after he passed away and everything that's going on with that. Yes. James, let me ask you, how would you feel if there were 5 Banks children, if you were the second and not the youngest?
I feel like that would be almost a little chaotic because Mary trying to teach 5 kids all at once.
Right. That is chaotic. So awesome answer. I think that's fantastic. Why? Well, let me hold off on that question. But is there a moment in the show that you love, that you think people are really going to be like, that is so cool, without giving away spoilers?
I don't really know any answers to that.
I think that's
you've talked about magic.
Yeah.
That you like the magic of the show. So is there, without telling specifically what the magic is, what's one of the more magical moments you find in the show?
I think Spoonful of Sugar is probably like one of the most magical scenes because of almost everything that happens in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool tricks that are going to happen with people, with props and furniture. I've heard it's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sad I can't actually watch it until preview night, but that's okay. What about you, Hailey? Is there a moment where you're like, I really want audiences to see this?
Ooh, there are so many moments. I have to agree with James. All throughout the show, there's joy, there's sadness, there's silliness, there's fear. Mm-hmm. There's so many, all the emotions that you could think of come throughout the show, and to experience that. I would agree that, actually, I'll give a shout out. There's a song that when Jane and Michael, they're being particularly naughty and just really stubborn, and they're acting as if they know everything and that you can't teach them anything, and their toys come to life. And their toys come to life to teach them a lesson. And Mary Poppins has the ability to do that. And I think that's, it's something different.
Yeah.
That people will kind of maybe will be surprised about that experience, because it's different and it's new, and it's the actors that are playing those toys are doing a fantastic job. I think they're going to really enjoy it.
So obviously I know the show pretty well, but any particular songs that people will recognize from the movie? Because there are some songs that are not in the movie, that we see in the musical, but what are some of those iconic ones that they can expect to see?
Well, we have our Step in Time.
Yes.
That's a very popular number. Our Spoonful of Sugar, as James mentioned, that's there. I will say that as Winifred, I get asked a lot about the women's suffragette. And
Sister
that
Suffragette.
song is not
It
there.
is not.
There's no Sister Suffragette.
Nope.
Still beautiful music, but that is not there. What else from the movie?
So what do we say? Spoonful of Sugar, Feed the Birds.
Feed the Birds. Yeah.
Let's Go Fly a Kite.
Yes.
Oh my God, you're putting me on the spot. The music is, majority of it's a little bit different than the movie, but the song itself is so iconic. It's like you hear Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, you know it's Mary Poppins. You hear Spoonful of Sugar.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. You know it's Mary Poppins. And it's really amazing to me how, so my background's predominantly in casting. And one thing that I always loved about casting was taking this two-dimensional figure that someone had in their head and just put it into words, and putting a face and emotions and movement to this person. So as someone who loved the books, and if you haven't read the books are a little dark. And it got Disney-ified.
Not Julie Andrews.
No, they are definitely not Julie Andrews. Mary Poppins was actually based off of P.L. Travers, the author, based off of her aunt. And just this way she had with children and how her presence just kind of brought everybody in. I could talk about Mary Poppins for days, guys, but we don't have time for that. So seeing how they have taken this image that was an actual person, some elements of her, put into a book, put into a movie, stripped back down and put on stage to try and meld the two together is really fascinating. And I think that's going to be something that people are really intrigued by of, no, it's not Julie, but I still love this magical nanny. And it's amazing. So I know we said that, James, this was your first show. Hailey, this is not your first show with Community Players, correct?
Correct.
Is this your second?
It's my second.
It's her second. Hailey, if you saw Fiddler on the Roof, Hailey played Fruma Sarah, which, if I may be so bold and say, that was probably one of my favorite scenes in the show. And that was the first time I met Hailey, and I went up to her and Erica, and I was like, where have you been all my life? Because just come hear her sing. And James, I've never heard you sing, but I'm sure you're fabulous.
He is.
So
he's had a great teacher.
Excellent. Who is your teacher? Can we give a shout out?
It's his mother, me.
It's his mother.
So actually, James and I were having conversations about his history, and it's a really interesting realization that we've come to, that how much theater and musical is just part of our family's culture.
Yeah.
And it's he doesn't realize that not every kid at the age of 5 was writing their own music, and that's not a normal thing, that you love sippy cups, so you have a full song about your love of sippy cups at the age of 5. He didn't know that wasn't a normal thing to do. So it's been really fun to bring him into, well, this is what I do outside of the house, because we do have our music and our culture inside, and now come join me and play outside.
So when can people come see the show?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, we start off, we have what's our preview night. It's a pay what you can night. So you can come, you line up early. I don't know what time to tell people to be there.
So as someone who, I directed Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat back in 2018. Big name following, obviously not a Disney, but I was also involved with Little Mermaid the year prior to that. And we were probably wrapped down to Robin Hood by 6 o'clock. Okay. So if you really want to come to preview night, come early.
It's first come, first serve.
First come, first serve. We cannot reserve seats. We offer it to the community to make sure we're providing art to people who maybe don't have the resources to see it. So we want to make sure everyone can come see it on Pay What You Can preview night. But there are a lot of performances for the show.
So that preview night is Thursday, July 11th. And then, so that Thursday, it's our first weekend that we're open. It's Thursday to Sunday, so the 11th to the 14th. And then the following weekend, again, is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's the 18th to 21st. And then the following closing weekend, so it's 3 weekends. It's July 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. All of the Sunday performances are at 2:30 p.m. The evening performances of Thursday, Friday, Saturday are at 7:30 p.m.
Yes, and I do want to point out summer shows at Community Players do run a little bit differently than the shows during the season. Typically, they only have that Pay What You Can Thursday performance, but with summer shows, there are actual performances on those Thursdays as well. So if you know your weekends are just shot, but you can spare a Thursday night, come see it on that second or third Thursday. I also know there's going to be an understudy performance because quite a few of you are understudied as well.
Yes. I am so excited for this performance. Our understudies that we have are phenomenal.
Understudy performances, it's so cool to watch and be like, this is an understudy? I feel like understudies and swings get like a bad rep sometimes, but the work they do to learn 2 parts is ridiculous.
So in my experience with professional theater, oftentimes the understudies and the swings are even stronger performers than those that have the lead parts, because they're expected, like you said, to just step in at a moment's notice without having had the rehearsal, for 6 weeks previous.
And you're learning so many parts, like your own, plus you have to be ready to cover 8 different tracks sometimes.
And play completely different characters and do it well. And our understudies 100% do that. So that performance is on Thursday night. It's our closing weekend. So it's Thursday, July 25th.
Mm-hmm. So I know, I believe, so Jessa Benson and Parker Doherty play Mary and Bert.
Yes.
All the performances except for that Thursday where you will see Megan McDillon and Thomas Toohill. And then I am not sure off the top of my head who your understudy and who Mr. Banks' understudy are.
So my understudy is the amazing Lorelei, and I don't know her last name. Sorry, Lorelei. And Jeff is understudy Mr. Banks.
Yes. Lorelei Kachevsky,
Thank you.
I believe, because I
Yes.
worked with her last summer.
Yes,
And
phenomenal.
then Jeff Burke,
Also phenomenal.
also brilliant voice. So come to both performances, honestly. See both casts. That's what I'm planning on doing because I
Yes.
don't want to miss out on it. So, James, let me go back to you for a second. Anything you want people to know about the show, why they should come see it, and just, get all the butts in the seats.
Like we said, there's a ton of magic involved, and different casts might have like more different voices and different ways how they speak and how excited they are. So you might want to come see both casts.
Absolutely. What about you, Hailey?
What was the question? I was just so enthralled with the answer.
No, it was a great answer, and it led me to another question.
Yes.
But why should people come see the show? Why is it so amazing?
Yes, to sit down and have the opportunity to see the world through someone else's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It, like you said, it's the children are on stage a ton, so it's kind of through their eyes. James reminds me a lot of Michael Banks in that James will also ask a lot of questions about why things are the way they are, or why things work the way that
As
they
we
work.
should.
And these kids do that. They ask the questions, and if they're not asking the appropriate question, Mary is there to guide them towards a thought process of, well, have you thought of it this way? Or, and they're great questions that apply to all of us as to why do we do the things that we do, and to also maybe walk away thinking, okay, what can I take from this, and what can I create? What can I create with the magic that I have in my life? Because we all have a little bit of magic.
Yeah.
Might not be the same as Mary Poppins type of magic, but we all have a little magic that we can put into action.
Perfect. And then I do just want to throw a clarification in here, because we did say there's an understudy performance, but the Jane and Michael, they are alternating. So they're not just getting one. Since we have James on the show, do you have easy access to what shows James is going to be performing in?
I happen to know as his mother and having purchased tickets. Yes. So James, he and Khaleesi, the first weekend, they are the Thursday, Saturday cast. The following 2 weekends, they are the Friday, Sunday cast.
Okay.
So Olivia and Gabe are the opposite. The first weekend, they're the Friday, Sunday cast. And then the next 2 weekends, they're the Thursday, Saturday cast.
Perfect.
And
excellent.
Again, like James said, phenomenal. Each child brings their own personality and their own traits and wonder to the characters. So they're all worth seeing for sure.
That's one of my favorite things, is when you're seeing opposite casts or just seeing different things about it, you're still going to get the same, Jane and Michael. You're going to get the same Mary and Bert. In a sense, you're not necessarily going to get Gabe playing how James is playing. And just to see how they're interpreted differently goes back to that character and casting that I love. And just seeing what you can find within a role pertaining to yourself that just makes it you. And I just think that's fantastic.
Yes. And having worked with Lorelei as an understudy, I love watching her performance, because as I watch her interpretation of Winifred, I learn so much about her, and I make big changes, and I think, oh yeah, no, she was right. That is an appropriate response versus what I did. And sometimes I don't make the change just because I'm like, well, actually I want to bring a little bit more of my response. But normally I'm looking at her thinking, yeah, that was right.
That's amazing. So anything you guys want to add before I wrap it up?
I think, well, for me, I want to give a shout out to our amazing crew and cast. And you asked about, this is my second show at Community Players, and I have found it to be the community part of their title is very much there. We have, I counted it out, there's 21 members of the crew. everybody is just donating their time
Mm-hmm.
and their resources and giving their all. And there's 31 people on this in the cast.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just phenomenal people, very professional, very caring, kind, generous. And I think that's the essence of Mary Poppins, right?
Yeah.
Just that kindness and the giving and giving freely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful for that opportunity, and that James's first community experience in theater is with a group like this. That's not something you can always find everywhere.
It's
so
not.
we feel #blessed.
#blessed. What about you, James?
I really don't think there's anything else I have to add because we basically covered literally everything you need to know.
Well, then I guess I did a great job of interviewing you, and you did a great
Yes,
job of answering to
definitely.
cover everything.
I think you need to have another episode though of just
Me
sharing
talking about Mary Poppins.
all of your information about Mary Poppins, because there is so much there.
Yeah, I have I shared with the cast a couple weeks ago. I think it was 52 slides, and that's not even everything. And I even got a text from you a couple days later saying, "Hey, can we get more information on George and Renifred?" And I was like, "Sure, let me send you a quick text." And it was like, not even something I thought to put in the PowerPoint. But I'm super excited. I get to come to rehearsal tonight and work with you guys on some, comfortability exercises and all of that. And I think it's going to be a really good time. And I'm excited to see how everyone's relationships have formed. So yeah, awesome. Well, thank you both so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ashleigh.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The episode will air on the Wednesday before we open. So if you're listening to this, Mary Poppins opens tomorrow, July 11th, with their Pay What You Can preview night. Have a good night.